Well, this is the book that we read for group time in preschool. And I think this might be the closest to the actual. There's so many little pig books, there's so many stories, and they all end differently. But this one claims to be the true story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolfe, as told to John Scieszka, and the pictures are by Lane Smith. So let's see what the real story is with the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolfe. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. It's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny, and I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar, and now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't very clever because he built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed, sneeze. And you know what? That whole straw house fell down, and right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been there the whole time. Seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate him up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house, and this neighbor was the first little pig's brother, and he was a little more clever, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered, and I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And he yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my sneeze, but I sneezed a great chew! You're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's, and when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother, and he was a clever pig because he built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? You know what that rude little porker answered? He said, get out of here, don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. Probably had a whole sack full of sugar. Wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and sneezed. A great sneeze again. And then the little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Well, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing, making a big scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? The end. So what do you think? You think that's the true story? Think that's the way it actually happened? I found you got to look at all the sides before you could even come close to knowing what really happened. You got to look at all the sides. But at least now we do know the wolf side, don't we? Well, I'll see you next time.